Hello all, and welcome to my next ban appeal. I decided to spice things up and actually do an audio-video thing this time. After all, if we're doing a ban where the price is my integrity and ethical standards, we're going to be here for a long time. We'll see how it goes. First time with my voice too, been slowly getting more comfortable with my own voice and speaking to people. It's still shit, and fuck everyone who says I sound like Kane, or William Afton. But still, we'll see how this goes. This will cover my appeal, as well as input I asked for on the situation on my site in the latest blog post. So, Zach, when we last left off, you had ceded nearly every single point you threw at me. This ranged from fabricated offences of Rule 9 to the absurd assertion that I was subverting the moderator application process, which is still the most baffling and humorous part of this appeal. That is really a gem of a reason to try and ban someone. Still, now there is but one reason. I am banned because I dared to start the Fleshmonger campaign. My appeal is simple. The campaign is out of your purview. This is akin to the UK barring entry to the country from Lord Buckethead, seen here on the same platform as our Prime Minister. The premise is just as inane, except unlike your team, the political establishment actually stick to some of their core values, including a level of freedom of speech. There are few things I value in this world, but with your actions and ban, you're violating two of my core principles I hold so dear I try to stomp out any sort of violation, particularly in communities I like and take part in. The first of them is freedom of speech. I am very protective of my personal freedoms. By demanding I halt the Fleshmonger campaign, even outside of Freddit's main platforms, you are demanding I do not spend my free time making such content. This is an abhorrent demand, and I will not cave to anyone who dares to have the audacity to dictate to my face what I am and am not allowed to do in my spare time, let alone a group of adolescents who think they can control my personal life. This campaign is going ahead in defiance of this. The only way it will end is if ban reform is achieved. I have every right to run this campaign on YouTube, Discord and FNAF Law, and you have every right to block it on your subreddit in Discord. However, you have no moral high ground to block me. Not personally. The irony is that I was actually willing to keep it off of Freddit. I did muse over how I could post it to Freddit regardless, but even during that time the concept that the Fleshmonger campaign was banned wasn't even established. I'd be more than happy to keep it off Freddit, as I have done with Free Blue in the past, without any of your specific demands to do so. I did that for my own goodwill. The second value is ethical moderation. I try to promote this everywhere I go, and I'm happy to explain why, though the story is a bit sadder than many would like. As many people know, I was a Minecraft wiki moderator. Yeah, let's get all the jokes out here, why don't you? I worked on that wiki and helped make it what it is today. The community was as much of a core to myself as FNAF is to me today. During that time I had the mentorship of a curse employee. She was called Windfist. She was stunning. She taught me everything I knew. She was really invested in the community, to the point of defiance to curse at many points. She fought for the community several times, and they never even knew about it. She was spirited when she needed to be, and chilled out with the rest of us, offering feedback, debating policies between moderators, and questioning our actions, which is really important. Moderators self-checking their own actions. That's unheard of in Freddit ranks. This is the conduct of a seasoned and outstanding moderator. On the 15th of May 2014, the afternoon of my 21st birthday, I was told online that she had been found dead in her home. We later found out she'd suffered a heart attack. Words just can't begin to describe how I felt. To have such a role model who personally mentored you, taught you everything you knew for moderation, all of your ethics, was that core to how you enacted your policies, how you led your life, your ethics. It's just... to have them found dead, and to know that they're gone and you'll never talk to them again. I'm lucky to have not known death too well. First time I really met and understood death was, well, Kiz. I'm still trying to carry his torch too, hoping to do his name proud someday. People wonder and they ask, Kiz, why are you still doing this? Why are you considering making a total fool out of yourself in the name of ban reform, and in spite of the moderators? To them, I say, I see this as a duty. As a trained moderator, it is a duty to spread the knowledge I have learned. It is a duty I hold dear to improve and promote moderation of communities I am a part of. It is my duty to try to help them get the best for the community. I feel I was given those skills, I should just strive to make the most of them. And where I can't do that, try to improve where I am by promoting those same values. Wherever I go, whatever fandom I'm a part of, I try to do this. I feel it's a duty to spread the knowledge I've earned from being under Winther's tutelage. If I don't spread that knowledge, then what was the point? To have just wasted all of that advice? Everything they told me? Everything I was taught? Ethically, I cannot and will not back down from the campaign. I cannot give in to the pressures of a bunch of teenagers who think they can tell me what to do in my off time. But also, I can't sully her name, her practices. I cannot in good conscience allow bad moderation to exist unchallenged. And have you people claim to be moderators while defiling basic standards for moderator conduct? I cannot let that go without pushing for change. Pushing for rule changes, policy changes, and ultimately, moderator team changes, which I believe your conduct has fully justified. Is this really a permaban offence? If my offence is caring about the quality of moderation, then we will never see eye to eye. The Fleshmonger's campaign exists solely for one reason. It does not exist to overthrow the moderation, only a brain-dead fool would think I'd seriously become a mod. Petty feuds run deep in this community, from the users of Freddit to you moderators as well. That will prevent me from ever having a position of moderator. As you have proven with Karenez, the community wanted her in. I think she had 94% of the vote. You didn't care. No, the purpose is singular, to promote ban and moderator reform across all Freddit platforms, through the medium of dark comedy, political satire, while making a strong point about ethical conduct. Has always been his point. The Fleshmonger is ever vigilant of bad moderator practices. He will not tolerate them in any form, and his advance will not be slow, especially when I still get fucking messages like this. This is constant. I get one of these every week, Zach. I used to share them with you, and you told me to stop, that you had no authority on Discord, and so on and so forth. But I still get these messages, asking me for help, asking me to appeal for them. Then, with Ultimate Custom Night, you pull some stupid fucking shit like this. Is this what Freddit is to you? This Discord message disgusts me, that a mod team would dare to abuse the ban system for someone who either A, completed UCN, or B, told a lie. Oh boo-hoo, he told a fucking lie. Get the fuck over it. You don't attack that with bans, you attack it with humour. You laugh him out of the room until he provides proof. Only a cowardly, spineless moderator results to a fucking global permaban over nonsense like this. Hey Freddit, look at me. I not only did the challenge, but look at this score. Fucking ban me now, for I have sinned. You need to clean up your acts, because I'm dying to tear most of your team apart, to replace it with a substantially better one that this community actually deserves. Don't think I've got nothing on you, Zach. I'm not just bluffing. I listen, I have people I know, and I could crash this community down on your head if I wished, with the knowledge I have from the inside. The only thing keeping me down, as is now patently obvious, is Momerator's restraint to give me permission to expose you and your team. She did before, but apparently your messages weren't getting through. No one's were. But now we have to wait for her to do whatever she's doing in the back end, behind the scenes. She's someone who has a lot of sway in my life. I listen to them when they say to wait. Ironically, it's someone who you told to rein me in as well. Well, fucking bravo, I guess you finally got that from her. But even her request to hold back grows thin. They want you to have a fighting chance. They want to talk to you before I hold no punches. I chipped away her belief in you every time I talk to her. I want to break down that hesitation and trust, bit by bit, until I am given full authority to go all out. The more evidence I bring to her, the more disillusioned she becomes, the more visibly weakened her resolve is in our chats, and the closer I get to letting loose all I know, which will then include the juicy stuff she's told me. She may be doing some backdoor talks with you, some diplomacy, whatever she's doing, but I would be lying if I didn't say I want to tear into this right now. I do not fully believe she can do anything. You are far too gone for even her to make a difference. I hold back, hoping I am wrong, and her wisdom saves the day. It's not uncommon. She's done that several times. She's been the backbone of this community several times when it's mattered. But knowing your team, that is a fucking thin hope. Clean up your fucking act. You and most of your team should be ashamed to call yourself moderators. You think I caused drama before? I've done no such thing so far, regardless of how many moderators or former moderators decide to say behind my back that I've been doing that. Don't think I don't see this. Nowhere is safe, and I will call this out wherever I see it. As I have explained to you in detail, my actions, barring 2 incidents, were about quelling drama, not causing it. And those 2 incidents, they were quickly apologized for and retracted. But this will be drama. And unlike Basetown, I won't be ending it. I'll be agitating it as much as I can. No, let's get to that as well. I want a small rant. I have eyes and ears everywhere, and recently they focused onto you two, Justin and Wally. You claim I caused the Basetown drama? Well, lucky you, I am a compulsive hoarder of knowledge. I still have the old article online from the Basetown incident, password protected, and with it I also have links to my sources. What's this? Both of the polls about this were before the article? One by over a week? Fuck me, heavens have mercy. I never knew I was a fucking time traveller, Justin and Wally. And this whole threat business. You're talking about my having info that could ruin the mod team. How is this for a revolutionary concept? Don't do stupid shit as a mod, and I don't get ammo to then write about that shit. How about... Now here's an idea. You have ethical moderator principles, which, now get this, are fair, balanced, expire in a reasonable amount of time, and don't ban people for jokes, advocating a rule change, or for quote-unquote extreme degenerate behaviour. Banning by the rules you set, which apply to everyone equally. How about not threatening a user with a permaban over a claim to beat 50/20 mode? How about not banning people as a joke, then refusing to unban them? How about not insulting the head of your fucking mod team? How about not doing shady shit? See, I have enough dirt that I could get the community to crumble your mod team to the ground. This is the tame shit. I've not even got to the good stuff. Yet what do you have on me? If it is so impossible to live by the good ethical standards I promote, find dirt on me. You know what? You find any shred of corruption, then I will concede all of this. Any single shred. My entire moderation is transparent. All of it is searchable on Discord or written up on FNAF lore. Any issues I have caused, such as the Pop Goes and Kizzy Law issues, both of which I still say wasn't initiated by me, though I have blame in both to repent for, I have fully apologised for. Find any corruption, anything. Any conspiracies, any unjustified bans, any, for a completely random example, rigged moderator elections. You get the idea. You tell me these are unreasonable standards, so I must have something wrong in my history. That just follows. So find that corruption from me or my team. I have enough faith in my entire team that I can happily stand by their every action, and even be held to account for their conduct on my server. This is how much faith I have in them. Find anything from any of us, and I will prostrate myself on Freddit's altar. I am Sean Kizzycocoa Roberts. I have been unfairly banned for 140 days. I wish to not only be unbanned, but to reform Freddit's rules. Right now, they're broken, and I will give no apologies for trying to reform Freddit from the outside, or indeed, as it was not even banned, and still is not explicitly banned, the inside. Both for the peaceful and jokey Fleshmonger campaign, nor for exposing this team for what they are whenever I may decide to do so. Prove me wrong. Reform your rules before the community do so for you. So then, that's my latest appeal. Quite frankly, I'm at a point where I don't feel a single word will matter to you lot. You've dug your heels in too deep. You've chosen your hill to die on, and I cannot allow myself to back down either. We are both unable to compromise. You due to pride and not wanting to yield, alongside genuine fear of my actions, and myself because of my beliefs and ethical standards, because of my past, and because of those whose torch I try to carry to this day. This is a stalemate. Someone will have to blink in the end, and that someone will not be me. While this continues, while the conduct gets worse, I get more evidence, I can only then push for further reform in other ways. That is my position in full, and my analysis of the situation. You can stop listening now, Zach. This is the end of the appeal. But do stick around if you wish, as I outline the results on my little feedback form. So, last time I posted to FNAF Lore, I asked for people's input on the situation. We got 58 entries back. Some were repeats, some were trolls. There were 55 individual users who sent them in. That input looks kind of like this. Essentially, there were more people in favour of FNAF Lore, with a good chunk against, and a small few undecided. If we take out all joke answers, the results remain the same. Now I will go through the messages as I said I would. I will address them each, one by one. Well, aside from these special few emails, very charming, the Freddit side. Few who added comments posted actual answers, while the majority of those messages posted this kind of garbage, memes, insults and swearing. Congratulations guys, you're all men now, clearly the pinnacle of maturity. The first email is from Kelenov Games. I hate authoritarianism whenever it's in politics or online, so I support you and I think you've handled this situation well. Where I live, my government is cracking down on hate speech online, and it gives me a real 1984 feel when they violate my freedoms for, as they say, my own protection. Stay principled and you won't be the one looking back in regret of yourself a decade later. Fight the good fight, I'm by your side all the way. Well, thank you, that's certainly my intent and I appreciate the support. Second email, this is a long one, from Dennis Bartholomew Goldstein. To whom it may concern, my name is Dennis, and I have been a silent, impartial judge of the Five Nights at Freddy's culture over a period starting shortly after MatPat's second video in the franchise, and since then I've seen many different eras of the community, over YouTube, Reddit, Tumblr, hell, even other games, and frankly, I'm ashamed of it. Not for what it stands today, but rather how it's lost sight of why it ever managed to exist as a community in the first place. Good, I too follow that path. Glad to have others like you look over this. Sadly, sort of agree with the ashamed part of the community, but you gotta hold out for all the ones that aren't terrible. You got to keep going for their sakes. So, the moderators on Freddit do their best. That is undoubtedly true considering the frequent upheaval due to tiny, insignificant errors in general human rights, i.e. not always having a computer handy. The way the moderator team handled Basetown's inactivity was the very best they could pull from the situation, and that is something I will never doubt. However, the community's actions leading to that point were disgusting. How dare someone be too busy to use Reddit daily? Surely it was his own malevolence that led to that instead of the basic human trait of having priorities. I have to respond here. The story is far worse than that. Basetown was continually inactive and demanded all site changes go through him. Since he stepped down, Freddit has thrived. It has made terrible decisions, but it has thrived. Basetown, he's been an issue for, well, I suppose he was an issue for quite a while. And even previous moderators like Toy Chica and Lies Like Lavender, they had issues with him all the way back, and he's shown continual issues, particularly with alcohol, I believe. So, and of course when he's sort of doing that, he actually, I'll give him credit for this, he does the good moderator thing. He doesn't moderate while drunk, and I'll give him that credit. He at least knows when not to moderate there, but the problem is he wasn't moderating at all. You look at his post history now, I mean, I don't think he's done an unsolicited message on Freddit for, God, it must be close to 8 months or so. Maybe he's done one or so since I last checked, but he has not actively posted to Freddit, unless he was mentioned, it was a moderator issue, or he was doing a ban. I mean, he's not a good person to have as a moderator, just inherently. He can do no damage where he is now, but he is just not fit for office. Sarcasm aside, sarcasm, okay. Didn't catch that. Sarcasm aside, this isn't to say they're without fault. The concept of having the perfectly just immorality and ethics as your majority in council only works well in a perfect world, where your perfect judges equally represent perfect citizens, rendering themselves useless. Fundamentally, the FNAF community as a collective isn't built from moral denizens, we're built from outcasts. Now, I'm not suggesting that flooding the moderator team with the likes of Meme Machine and Freddy FNAF is a good idea. However, taking the target audience into account when creating rules, banning users, and otherwise affecting the 26,000 members of this slice of the community is a necessity that has been by and large ignored by the major members of staff. While I appreciate no one is without fault, you're talking about this in absolutes. I ask only for ban reform. Sensible, just ban reform. That's all I've asked for this whole charade. If they implemented that, the Fleshmonger would disappear. People would no longer come to me in droves talking about their unjust bans, and I will no longer need to do this nonsense. To say you have a right to generally harass the moderators and select users, on the other hand, is a different animal altogether. Your supreme lack of understanding situations and the consequences therein borders on sociopathic, Kizzycocoa. You were reportedly warned against continuously starting fights and borderline witch hunts towards the majority of users, chiefly Popgoes and all those on his side. In both the Discord chat and subreddit, over a simple shade of blue showcased a level of immaturity that Reddit's own terms of service, Section 4, Paragraph 13, Children and Reddit, was clearly built to protect against. You are clearly unfit for any level of leadership outside a street corner lemonade stand, and even then, as an atheist, I pray for the poor soul who'd be stuck working for you. Okay, so, firstly, I claim no right to harass, I start no witch hunts. I followed the Basetown thing as the entire community was roaring, and people were displeased. I compiled everything and put that into one place. It ended that witch hunt. It completely ended that witch hunt. I didn't start drama there, I ended it. I have never witch hunted Popgoes. I've actually stood up for him multiple times, as he has been slandered and threatened. Concerning Free Blue, that rule is true, which is why I have never, ever brought it to Reddit. Bar the few times I had to give it for context, Free Blue has been isolated to Discord, specifically my own Discord. Feel free to judge me for it, but I only moderate my FNAF lore domains. Not only that, but I have attracted great people who share these values and our spirit. I mean, Free Blue was completely a joke, but it's my joke, it's our joke, and I have done my best, as I said before, I self-moderate. I don't put that onto Freddit. I keep that off of Freddit wherever I can. I was told by Momerator once, Zach had asked her why she talked more with our group than Freddit. The reason is that we are a family for her. She had laughs, she related to us, she could be herself. that is all I can hope to accomplish moderating a community. If my side memeing this makes a terrible mod, so be it. I still foster a very open and very funny community that is, quite honestly, very reasonable. It doesn't insult people. It's very open to other people. Now, sometimes we have our jokes. We all like to sort of say Connie is the worst, and we, joke around with that. But that's a joke, and she does that back. I mean, we do have our immaturity, but that just contributes to the atmosphere that I like to keep going in our Discord. It's a very friendly atmosphere. It's a very welcoming atmosphere. And though we joke around, no one really insults or swears people out. And those that have, again I refer to Connie, we have slowly but surely warmed them to the idea of either making it more jokey or just not shutting people down. We hear everyone out. And we have a good community for it. We have a very fun-loving community, one that isn't too stuffy. If we have rule breaks, then we're quite lenient. Some would say we're too lenient. And, I think we've made a very fair community that is very welcoming to everyone. And that, quite honestly, I'm proud of creating. I'm proud of my community. And I'm hoping it will last for a long time, because I like that community. Back to the email. At its core, this drama that only you care about is so convoluted and petty that you've lost sight of the actual things you used to attempt to fight against in the first place. I encourage you to take a deep step back and realize how little of your campaign matters and how much of a joke you became when you lost yourself to petty, insignificant spats about things you fully admitted to never actually caring about. In that regard, you're worse than an honest-to-God troll because they have a reason to do what they do. You're just going to mop around aimlessly, throwing around weight you haven't realized no longer exists until someone tells you you're right and tries to help you get your way. Grow the hell up. Regards, Dennis Goldstein. Well, thank you for your mail, Dennis. And that is legitimate. I'm not being sarcastic at all. I really appreciate you writing out that email. I think I've not lost sight. My methods are unusual, but I stand by my actions. Free Blue is my own meme. I will meme it to my heart's content. If you look to Free Blue and see it as anything connected with moderator reform, you're wrong. Mostly. It has the tinge of that, as it's a retaliation to Freddit caving to Popgo's tantrum to the mods. The real thing to focus on is the Fleshmonger's message. Not even him being a mod, but the message behind the jokes. The Fleshmonger campaign, I can admit, has a lot less sway now. It would have had more sway if I wasn't banned, but has a lot less sway now. But it was never about being a moderator. It was about pushing the message, getting people to talk about moderator reform. And I hope that I can promote that talk. I mean, that was the best way I could think of promoting it. Maybe there's a better way, who knows. But really you need to focus on the message behind the Fleshmonger. And Free Blue, that's my own personal thing. That's like in-jokes. I mean, you're criticising my being a mod over an in-joke. I don't really feel that's fair. Still, thank you very much for the email. As for having no weight to throw around, don't count your chickens just yet. I have people in all levels of the mod team, and I have knowledge that if the mod team acts how I'm counting on them to react, I get to scream about shortly. I don't feel they'll be reforming, but who knows? Maybe they'll prove me wrong. I very much doubt it, but maybe they will. Next up, one of my fellow moderators, Retroity. One of the very good ones. He's a quick bugger when he comes to the invite lobby. He always gets the new people in. I'll catch up with you someday, Retro. Believe you me, I will. So he says, while both sides have clearly made mistakes during this fiasco, it is my belief that the Five Nights at Freddy's moderator team has really mishandled Kizzycocoa's case. He is being personally targeted by the moderators, and that is unprofessional. Five Nights at Freddy's is in need of moderation reform, but instead of that, they ban the main person suggesting change. This, I have nothing to argue about. This is my position in its entirety. You can claim bias, whatever you want with the moderators, but Retrority, he tells me when I'm wrong, he tells me when I'm right. He's pretty impartial. So, thanks Retro, but yeah, I really can't fault anything in the email. Perhaps it's because it's an echo chamber, who knows, but really that's exactly how I feel in all of this. Next email, and it's another long one from Rodriguez197. I've seen them in my Discord a fair amount. Over the course of the previous months, we have seen an escalating of the situation where it has devolved into glorified tantrums on both sides of the argument. Being a rather active member of both of these communities, I feel responsible as to provide my input regarding this discussion and the best course of action. Kizzy has constantly argued against his ban, slowly but surely dwindling down the moderator's justifications to particular points. This shows that the moderators did in fact not think this through before taking a course of action. With that in mind, I believe that Kizzy's punishment should have not been as severe as it was, especially considering the fact that it was established under fragile evidence. Thank you very much. It's taken many months of the team delaying each action, but yes, I agree. That being said, I have to ultimately stand by Freddit's side. Because regardless of how well the arguments you made were structured and potentially correct, the frankly childish way you have handled this not only delayed your potential unban, as well as given you an infamous reputation. I appreciate the nuance here. I'm not sure what I've done that's particularly childish. I carried on a meme, and I ran a jokey campaign to promote ban reform. The need to actively poke at the mods going so far as to do unauthorized campaign on Freddit, and yes, I am aware of my hypocrisy on that. Well, yeah, you're the only one who actually took part in that. Makes it frankly hard to stand by your side. As the older and supposedly more mature person, you should attempt to prevent this conflict in opposition to fueling it every chance you can. I believe that if this is going to reach any meaningful place, there needs to be a change of attitude on your end. Yes, perhaps I shouldn't have done that. Still, I broke no rule. In fact, the only art submitted, the one you made, didn't even qualify, sadly. I mean, look at this. This looks like a FNAF art piece, and yet they banned it. And even though it was submitted to the competition, it wouldn't qualify. You can't see him. And that was the point. It was sort of a Where's Wally thing, not a sort of let's darken this up so that you can not see a single thing. Even then, the cube, it doesn't even have circles in the cube, which was a little bit frustrating. Still, do you not think I've tried? This series of appeals have been me trying to be mature, systematically destroying their arguments. At this point, I do not believe there can be a change. My recent discontent has been my frustration at this being the case. With that in mind, the mod team isn't completely innocent. They have handled ban reform somewhat poorly. That's an understatement. And possibly could go with a few touches on the team itself. I'm not voting in favour of anyone, I'm voting against both. Well, you kinda did vote against me and for Freddit in the poll, but still. The Freddit is currently the lesser evil. In this situation, in my eyes. The situation was handled horridly in every single phase possible. Well, again, you did vote against me and for Freddit. Still, I can feel and understand the sentiment. I wonder, how is Freddit the lesser evil? I've literally done no wrong. According to their own rules, I have been sure to keep within the rules. Still, thank you for your email. Next one. This one is also from Dennis, a follow-up to seeing my prior response. I responded to this on Discord before, so this is a response to that. I'm not sure if I can get the response. It probably won't even correlate, but I'll read it out and we'll go through it as we go. I'm pleased to see my letter to you has had some level of effect, Kizzy, but sadly you're still missing the point, which ironically proves mine slightly further. Claiming that you self-censored Free Blue is ridiculous, as you were accosted many times to basically shut the fuck up about it. Well, people don't have a right to tell me what memes I can do in Discord, in my own Discord. I reserve the right to meme, but I respect the boundaries. It's why I refuse to return to their Discord, because I just do that all over again, and it's why I refuse to meme it onto Freddit. I did self-censor it out of courtesy, and I did self-censor. Not on my Discord, because I have rights on there, but on their subreddit and Discord, I did that out of respect. But to clarify, this was not out of being told. I did it of my own goodwill. I self-censored out of my own initiative, not even being asked. And in the same vein, your Fleshmonger, which sounds like a euphemism for a penis, only seems like a Harvey Dent-esque means to bully your ideals on others. I won't say you can't be a good leader, you can be. I've seen it firsthand on some of your more out there creative projects. But you shouldn't be allowed a major or even minor position of power over this community. When Scott Cawthon yourself calls you out, it's not a badge of honour, it's a warning. You shouldn't take pride in being a drama queen, nor should you be being a bastion of those who were forcibly removed from the subreddit for a reason. Firstly, right, the Fleshmonger has no penis. Only a flaccid patch of small tendrils. There is a lot of lore around the Fleshmonger and his appearance, and some of it you're going to be able to see firsthand. But still, correcting you there canonically. Secondly, it's not bullying. It's me running a joke campaign. It's essentially, like Zach put it himself, a sort of Jim Sterling-like character with a bigger underlying meaning for mod reform. I appreciate the words of my moderation, but I will stress my professional and personal life are very separate. When it comes to moderator business, as I have explained before, I am deathly serious. I would never sully that side of my life. As I have mentioned prior, that I would never sully that with any sort of joking or anything. When I moderate, I moderate. When I joke, I joke. Those are very separate. I agree I should not be the bastion for the subreddit's discarded members, but that is what Freddit has made me. I am proud to give these fine, upstanding people whom being falsely or far too harshly banned a home. Now then, concerning the following quote, that was from Scott. I contend all of this. As I've said before, find a single person who thinks Scott is a flawless storyteller, and you will have found yourself a liar. We have all critiqued Scott's story, especially from FNAF 4 onwards. I should not be happy someone answered the law. I should be frustrated that the game designer did not sort out the story properly. He himself admitted he's played catch-up with the community. The latest games, 5 onwards, have been chasing answers the community has wanted, sometimes making things worse. I reject his entire insinuation in this quote. I think it was far too big-headed of him to respond like that. Scott is no god, he is flawed, and his comment insinuating he is not is very misguided. He is essentially saying, oh, you're critiquing my meme, you're saying I'm wrong here. Well, maybe you should rename your site. That's a childish and puerile thing to say. He has been critiqued from every side on his law, and he doesn't get to say, if you critique my law, then you should be making your own law. Something sarcastic and snarky like that. As I said, he is flawed. I reject his aspect of his critique and your critique. Still, again, thank you, Dennis. I do appreciate the feedback, both for and against me. It may sound like I'm sort of completely putting it aside, but I do actually respect having this other side brought to me, so I can actually answer to it and give my view against it. Next message. While I think the ban is unfair and stupid, I don't think invaders should step down. Just apologise. Freddit needs serious ban reform now. And this comes from someone who was an avid supporter of the mods back when they were getting attacked. I partly agree. I mean, I have lost all trust and respect for Zach as a result of this charade due to my ban. Naturally, of course. But a hearty, meaningful apology, a change in policy, and respecting permabans for the severe reprimand they are, not something to be tossed around freely, that's what I want. And I don't think that's unreasonable. But I have to wonder if there is any redemption for them. There is a lot more I know that I'm bound to keep quiet, at least until I'm allowed to let loose. Hopefully some of that will unwind shortly, but now, lately, I question if they can be good mods. Next email from Blast, short and snappy. We just need the ban system fixed and new mods. I fully agree, yes. Very nice short email. Next email is from B. Truthfully, I haven't had any problems. Even if I've heard of these chaotic whisperings so far, I've seen little trouble. Whether this is all being silenced or so, I wouldn't be sure. Nonetheless, if a major post like this is being made, I suppose I can't turn an eye to the fact that there might be major problems beneath the surface of the subreddit. There certainly are many problems. Perhaps in a while I could probably reveal a few, but still, thank you for your email. Next from Lex SFM, which seems to be a YouTuber. Freddit should fix their ban systems. Couldn't agree more. Next from Scrub Knight, Invaders needs to learn. Yep, I agree. I keep trying to teach him, believe you me. He's a stubborn student, that's for sure. Next up from DalekMan9999. Known you for ages, Kizzy. You're the least likely person to go out of your way to break rules on the page. The fact they banned you of all people shows how full of themselves they are. I thank you for the kind words, and I'm loath to disagree with this email. Next, this entire thing was completely stupid on both ends, and some advice. If you want to have a serious debate with someone and be taken seriously, don't name fallacies, let alone use them incorrectly. That's not what an ad hominem is. Their email was sent with an additional part saying, I forgot to add, your site hasn't been relevant since the release of Sister Location, update your shit. I will address the irrelevancy. That was largely due to Theory Burn. Sister Location, specifically Custom Night, burned me completely, and I've had trouble getting back into the swing of things ever since. I am trying, but it's been much more of a push to accomplish any sort of good work. Now, concerning the stupidity, I agree, this is stupid on all ends. But I don't understand the gripe on fallacies. Where's that coming from? I hope to hear back on that. Next up, why does it matter that you got banned? If it's just for FNAF updates, why don't you just do your own research? And if it's because of friends, then they clearly are not your friends. Well, it's because I am quite principled, but also posting on Freddit is certainly nice. Oh yes, I could get any number of people to post content on my behalf, but it's not quite the same. It's not really much to do with FNAF updates. Next, it's not a fucking big deal, Lamau. I'd agree. As you've said, this is all petty, as the box you ticked. But again, it's the principle of the matter. Finally, from Random User 34. I think that perhaps it is time for Invaders to step down. Honestly, I don't think I can agree more. I think it is probably that time. Or at least reform. Yeah, reform, fine. But otherwise, yeah, it is probably time for him to step down. And that's all of the mails. So ends the banned feedback emails. There were others, but they were either irrelevant, insulting, or contribute next to nothing to this. I implore other responses like Dennis's one, but when I have blatantly insulting emails like this one, kindly left by PokeFan993, who boldly permitted me to use his name, you contribute less than nothing to this situation. I will not be showing any further emails anything like this one here. So, with all of that said and done, farewell all. I shall hope to talk later. There is much to talk about, I just need the last go-ahead. Please continue to leave messages. I'm happy to continue sharing my perspective here, and I'm happy to hear any opposing thoughts to this entire situation. I like to keep my mind open. I like to double-check if I'm doing the right thing. So far, from everyone's reactions, from how Momerator has been talking to me, how I've been getting these emails, my own server, maybe a bit of a echo chamber, but I can't see much wrong. The only thing that I hear wrong about it is that it's childish. And I say it's not childish, it's just trying to be entertaining. That might be cringy, but it's certainly not childish. It's just me trying to spice up the topic a bit so that people can actually take it in. If I don't do that, then no one's going to be interested. But if I put some sort of maniac killer chinchilla that I had planned for the charity campaign and just recycle him, well, that starts to get people's attention. And that's mostly why I've done that. So, I shall talk to you all later maybe. See you later.